Hey guys, how are you guys doing today? So we're gonna hurry up and get on with this garden tour because the birds have been at it with each other. Like, they've literally been fighting before I turned this camera on, and it's been raining on and off. So we're just gonna get started with this garden tour and planting and head home, okay? But I have this garden trellis here. Hopefully it picks up on camera. The garden has had this for some time in the shed, and so I decided to utilize it because we like to utilize everything in the garden instead of to always have to purchase stuff. So we have this trellis, and I was thinking, since it has big holes and it's pretty long, to put 3 squashes or cucumbers on each side, because the students already started a bunch of squash. This is not even all of it. These are just a few plants that the students started. But we have these tender green improved bush beans, and I was thinking to do 2 rows of the bush beans underneath the trellis, because the trellis has big holes where we can move the plants aside, like the squash and cucumbers, whatever we plant on the sides. Move them aside once they get bigger and just reach through the holes to harvest the beans. And I feel like that would be perfect. And if the beans grow outside the holes, then so be it. So we're gonna get started on planting the rows of beans, and then we're gonna put the trellis down and then plant the squash or cucumbers on the sides. Our hugelkultur bed, we have already planted the sweet potatoes, and they're doing good. And this bed also has more potatoes there, and then garlic and a lettuce. I'm not going to show you all of the fruit trees, but we have apples, guys. I'm going to show you the fruit trees that really have piqued my interest and have made me so happy to be having fruit in the garden. This is the Iron Shimmer apple tree, and it has some of the best growth out of all of the trees here in the school garden. Look at that, beautiful. Now this tree was the tree that we had an aphid issue with, and it started to be like an infestation, but we got it all under control. And throughout the garden I have noticed ladybugs, so that is a plus for any garden. You want to make sure that your garden is conducive for every type of predator, in terms of like ladybugs, wasp, lizards, frogs, bees, butterflies. All of those bugs are good to keep down pressure from your aphids, your grubs, all of those things. Okay, over here we have some beets interplanted with our grapes, and I love that we have the beets here because whatever was starting to eat the grapes moved down to the beets, and that's perfect. And we use the beets as like a trap crop, and the grapes have just taken off. Look at all of this growth. I do want to get some twine to just tie the twine in between the planks that are already here, so that the grapes can have something to climb onto, because every time I do this, the grapes just fall. But if we had something to help the grapes, it would be better for them in the long run. But they look so good. We have so many grapes forming on the bushes. They're everywhere, which is awesome. It's really good to see. It's really great to see like how much growth all of the trees have really made in the past few weeks. Literally just a few weeks. Like they've grown to just having flowers to now having fruit that is getting bigger and bigger by the day. And I'm so excited. We just have to make sure that we get some kaolin clay and the little mesh baggies that we can put over the fruit, just so we can protect as much fruit as we can from the squirrels and the birds, so that we can have at least something to harvest. We don't mind sharing the fruit with the animals because, I mean, the animals help to keep pests down as well. So with that, if we could just live in a harmonious fashion, that would be perfect. And you can see some trees haven't done so well, like this pear tree behind me. This is a pineapple pear. This one doesn't have that much fruit on it at all, nor does this. I think this is a black Arkansas, or yeah, Arkansas black apple tree. Doesn't have that much fruit, and I'm not sure why, but hopefully we are able to harvest some type of fruit from it, even if it's just one, because I do know of one tree here in the orchard that only has one fruit that's set on it, and it's this one. I think this is not the Dorset Gold, it's the Mutsu apple. I think this is a type of Asian apple, possibly. That's the, if you see it right there, that's the only fruit that has set on this tree. So I'm gonna do my best to protect that one. Okay, we're not gonna have any soldiers down on my watch. I promise you that. Okay, moving over here on the other side of the greenhouse, we have snap peas. We have some ox heart carrots that need some thinning. We just had these collards planted. I'm not sure if they're gonna last because the bugs have been eating a lot of the brassicas. So those may not last out here, not sure. But the peas have been putting on flowers and we'll be able to harvest from them soon. I do see some aphids on the snap peas. I'm sure you can see it on screen as well. So I'm gonna have to come over here and spray each plant individually. The garlic is doing good. We do need to purchase some more fish fertilizer to fertilize all of the plants that are already out in the garden, especially the alliums. Next week, I'm going to harvest those onions in the back. You can see they've already gone to seed, and I'm not sure why, because those were started by seed as well, just like the other ones I showed you previously. So I'm not really sure why those chose to go to seed right now. But we have this beautiful lettuce here mixed in with our crop of celeriac next to our Swiss chard. That Swiss chard has been going for some time and it still has not gone to seed yet, which is awesome. And then we have our poppies here, and these are not the only poppies that we have in the garden. The other poppies in the pollinator garden have already gone to seed. I mean, not going to seed, but they've started to blossom, and I can't wait to show you guys that because this is my first time with the students growing not poppies, I'm sorry, cosmos. These are cosmos. The cosmos are so beautiful, so beautiful. And then we have cucumbers growing next to some bush beans interplanted with radishes next to our chamomile. We just harvested some chamomile heads earlier this morning to save for teas that we're making, little tea bags. And then we have more chamomile here, 4 more chamomile plants next to a bean plant. Oh, and I forgot to show you guys that. So we had red beans here last year, and some of the beans self-seeded themselves and volunteered. We have 2 right there, and then we have about 3, 4 right there, and then we have 1 right here. And so that's really cool. We don't have to grow beans right there because they've already done it themselves. And then moving over here, we have cucumbers that, I think those are either cucumbers or squash. No, cantaloupe. Those may be cantaloupe. But the students started that and they planted it. Here we have a myriad of things. We have cilantro, onions, garlic, more cilantro, borage, cilantro going to seed, basil, kale, more cilantro. Moving this way, we have more kale and what's that called? Cabbage. I do need to go ahead and just remove it because it's not going to grow. It's not going to get any bigger. It's been that size for some while now, for some time. And then we have a row of our runner beans. I think they are the sunset variety. And then we have our squash right along beside them. This area needs more what's it called, soil acidifier, so that the squash can have a good time adjusting to this new area that they're in. Okie dokie, moving towards the front of the garden like I promised. Have a strawberry patch, and then we have another Cosmo there. The butterfly bush. The butterfly bush has not put on new flowers yet, because I'm here go new flowers here. So I'm guessing each new year it puts on new flowers, because I removed a lot of the old limbs that it had. So these, I'm assuming, are the new flowers that are coming in. And I can't wait to see all of the butterflies that swarm to it. It's going to be so cool. And then we added in some squash. The students last week planted more chamomile over here, along with some calendula and more basil. And then we have, you know, the marigolds and other cosmos, the sedum, the not sunflower, but the, what is that? I should know it by heart. I think it's called a red flower. And then I don't remember what that plant is though. And then the borage. I do have to bring, and I totally forgot to bring it today, but we have either slugs or snails just gnawing at all the plants that have been put over here. And we have to put some of that stuff down, because if not, all of the work that the students did will be for naught. We have to handle that before it gets out of hand. I'll do that probably tomorrow. But what I really wanted to show you was this Cosmo. Look at her. She's so pretty. Look at that. That is gorgeous. That is so beautiful. Wow. And then we have another one there, another Cosmo there, and then one down there that is about to open up as well. So this area finally is getting to look the way I envisioned it this whole entire time. And this took, what, 5 years to get to? Anything that you're really set in doing and you really have a passion for is going to take some time. Just like this literally has been a work in progress for 5 years. This was not easy to get done, even though it seems like, oh, you could have been got that done. But no, it took time, it took resources, and it took hard labor. So all of that has finally produced all of this. And I cannot wait to see like how everything looks once it starts heating up and we get closer to June and July. This whole area is going to blossom and look so full, and I cannot wait. I would take you guys in there, but there's so much work that needs to be done. The little piles need to be taken to the compost area. The plants that have gone to seed need to be removed. I need to add more soil in the beds. We need to add more plants over here. It's just a lot of work that needs to be done. I may put tomatoes in these beds and just have them grow along the gravel, possibly. I'm not sure yet, but we'll take care of that at a later date. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about it, but you know, I'm worried about it, but it's not like at the top of my list. But it's gonna be soon. It's going to be soon. And over here, we have our corn. And I feel like I am starting to see corn grow. We have our corn growing. Oh my goodness. Our corn has already started to sprout. Look at that. That's our corn. And these are the corn seeds that we saved. I really didn't think they were going to germinate. I was kind of hesitant. And there's a bean seed. That's shocking. But our corn has started to germinate already. Oh my gosh. Ah! I'm so excited. I really didn't think they were going to germinate. That's so cool. Mind you, we have 72 seeds in this one row. They're gonna grow. I'm not gonna move them. They're gonna have to stay there. But that's really cool. Our corn has germinated and we saved that seed. Self-sustainability, guys. That is what we're teaching our students and you guys at the same time. Self-sustainability. Now that we have our own corn growing and all the other corn that we're gonna grow, that we have seed that was donated to us, we're going to be saving our own corn seed non-stop, and we're going to make sure that we don't have any cross-pollination so that we can keep these two different crops available to us throughout time until we don't grow corn anymore. But that is so cool to see that we have our own corn growing. That also not confirms, but like affirms the work that we're doing. To see the things actually work the way you have planned out in your head, to actually see them happen in real time, that really affirms all the work that is put into gardening, because gardening is not easy, especially on a scale like this. Even home gardeners, it's not easy, because I have a garden at home and it's not easy to do everything that I'm doing in my personal life and my professional life, but to actually add on a home garden on top of that, but I'm actually able to produce food for myself. It's really cool. It's really good. And the rows behind me, the black rows that you see, those rows are not going to be planted into just yet, because again, we want to add the soil acidifier into the rows, mix it into the soil, remove any large pieces of wood so they don't take up any nitrogen in the soil, and also remove any large rocks, because I do see some in the soil in the rows. Once we are able to do all of that, then we're going to plant the rest of the squash that is growing in the greenhouse. We're going to have another row of tomatoes. I'm thinking to put that row of tomatoes right here where it can get a lot of sun. And yeah, I'm also wanting to grow ginger this year, so we may grow ginger in this row right here next to me, because we haven't grown ginger since 2021, I believe, and we didn't grow that much. We just put a few pieces of ginger in the ground. We got a good harvest, but it was kind of small. So if we can have a full bed of ginger growing, that'll be great. We still need to do some echinacea plants. I want to get some of those started, and some sweet marjoram, which is a herb. We haven't had any of that growing, so those are some things that would be great to add to the garden. But that's everything, guys. Everything is moving at a steady pace. We are pacing ourselves. Everything's doing fairly well. We're just trying to get everything into the garden before it gets root bound in their containers, because we don't want that at all. So we're just continuing to move at a steady pace. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share with those that you know are interested in gardening and or want to grow some of their own food at home. We'll be dropping this video very soon and another one afterwards. So again, subscribe, click the link in the description box to support our programming by purchasing some of our merch that we have available. Follow our socials. We can be found on Facebook and Instagram at EBLLCINC, and on TikTok at Project G.R.A.P.E. Until the next video, we'll see you all later in the garden. Bye.